Hey, good afternoon. Welcome to the Board of Education and Business Committee meeting on Tuesday, November 28th. We were respectfully acknowledge that we are meeting on the traditional and ancestral lands, the Hulkmeeting speaking people where we live, learn, and play. Motion to adopt the agenda. Trustee Schmidt, Trustee BEBC, all in favor? Minutes of the October 24th, 2023 Board of Education Business Committee. The Board of Education and the Business Committee adopt minutes of the October 24th, 2023 Board of Education Business Committee meeting. Trustee Dorn, Trustee Lise, all in favor? Motion passed. Action list.
Chair.
Yes.
This committee never has an action to do because all action goes to the board. Can I make a motion to remove action lists from the agendas from now into the future?
Yes. None. Petitions and delegations. Who's first? Drinkwater.
Brilliant. Hi, my name is Brenda Stevenson, and I'm the principal at Drinkwater Elementary. Rhonda Rose, who is our vice principal at Drinkwater, and two of our most amazing grade 7 students. We have Callie Bush and Lily Rayner, who will be sharing a little bit about what school is like for them at Drinkwater. Our festival is all about social emotional. What we're really trying to work on is helping to have children learn how to best self-regulate, as well as building relationships, positive relationships within our school community and the greater community in order to build that sense of safety and belonging. So here is, we talk about teaching the self-regulation. We are also a school who just on Friday, we have now trained all of our staff in Ukeru. So we're pretty excited about that. We have been working a lot this year and last year on reintroducing what the dolphin means at Drinkwater as a mascot. It's been kind of sitting in the background. So we've brought it to the front, talking about how the dolphin, what are the characteristics of dolphins, and how we are all dolphins and how we can support each other. Recording in progress. Our learning as in social emotional learning and our academic learning. So here we just have a couple of great pictures of our students around building strong relationships. We really do help to provide a bunch of opportunities for all of our students to engage. We love doing theme days, or as some of the staff will tell you, I really love theme days. I really like dress up. The children enjoy that sense of fun around dress up. We do have regular newsletters. They are weekly or bi-weekly, depending on what's kind of happening, which is a way to help bring our community in, keep them informed. And for those of us who like to use that platform of Facebook, we're also all over Facebook celebrating. Technology, it's an amazing thing. This is actually a big centerpiece when you come into our school, right in the foyer, where we talk about many hearts build our community. And one of the things that was really important for our students as well as our staff is to understand where our sense of belonging comes from. So it's a little bit hard to identify, but you will see all these black lines. Those are representative of all of the places that our students who are currently enrolled in our school come from. And when we have new families come and join us, that is super important that we quickly get to their country of origin up. Yes. And we have It is on this one, is it not? Yeah, it is here where we're talking about the sense of belonging and the sense of safety. And we offer you the voices of some of our students, some of our parents, and some of our staff.
There's no sound. Okay. We're gonna go back because it's not, there's no sound coming. Or do we just go on? John?
No, I think it's important that we please hear the voices.
We had it working, we promise. It was
He
working.
was like a creeper. He just peeked around the corner at the right time.
I said, don't go very far.
Check your.
But it's still going through the map Quebec, so maybe it needs to go through there.
All right, so you're not going to necessarily hear. And I think that's unfortunate because one of the pieces that you hear across the board with the students, the parents, and the teachers is that sense of community that we are building within our walls, as well as the greater community, that there is that feeling of safety.
We apologize. It was so good too.
And so a lot of the words that are popping up: kindness, projects, inclusion, spirit days, fun and fairs, equality, staff, communication, the new staff inclusion of activities, and caring. I think that I read them all are words that you hear repeatedly in the conversation from those three community groups. If you see right beside the map that has all of the not that one, but right beside it, there is an apple with a bunch of words. It's a wordle that's been shaped into an apple. Those are the words when asked several classes how they would describe our school. What are the words that come up for them? These are the words. For them, these are the words. For them, these are the words. For them, these are the words. I think we just that again that the You'll notice that technology wasn't one of the words up there.
We are muted, but I don't know why it is.
Really weird. Andrew, you're not the first one to say this.
I apologize.
Yeah.
This is the first.
You're off on your computer? I have it off on my computer, but it's still playing. When you see Sean's stuff, volumes. Right here.
There. Okay.
Okay. Sorry about that, everybody. We're just going to do it without sound at all.
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay.
Now you just have to trust me when I say those are all the great things that the community has spoken about. I would like to spend this PowerPoint forward so that you might listen to the words of our community speak, because I think that they speak the truth of our school community. One of the things that we celebrate a lot in our school is dolphins helping dolphins, or dolphins helping their pods. And this is a really great example. This is Luca and his mom, who have really taken on that role of being dolphins helping dolphins. Mom went out and purchased some garbage picker-uppers, and then one day at the end of school, like around 4 o'clock, came with their garbage bags and their garbage picker-uppers to keep the field clean. And I know it makes a difference because Jeff made a comment about it last time we was at the school around cleanliness. Both Kim and Luca also saw that there was a bit of an issue around mud being in between our school field and the subdivision. There's this muddy little path, and trying to make it best for our dolphins, feeling that sense of safety and community, put down some boards with some skid strip down so everyone can go across safely. They are just one example. Our second goal is around literacy. And I'm not going to lie, I'm a little bit excited about our literacy. We were hoping in our festival to show at least 10% growth. Did we make that goal? No, but that was an end goal. We're certainly working towards it, and it's not for lack of effort. Our staff has really had a huge mindset change in how we are delivering not only literacy, but it's moved into numeracy as well to help support our learners. And now I'm going to talk a little bit about the inquiry project. So some of you will have already had experience with our inquiry project. We had a delegation come and speak about the collaboration grant between BCTF and our school district around the teacher inquiry project, which was a part of our changing practice within our school as we delved deeper into how can we best meet the needs of all of our learners. Are we doing it again this year? Not with those monies, but are we continuing that inquiry project? Are we continuing to dig deeper into our learning to best support their learning? Absolutely we are. And now I'm going to pass it on to Rhonda.
So the TIP grant actually inspired a lot of our staff to get on board with changing their practice and to looking deeper into what they're doing and why. And so we now have evidence around our school of how we're changing this practice. We have groups of teachers actively working together in offering skill development groups, having students get what they need when they need it, targeted and explicit. And, you know, we started with the 4, 5, 6, 7s quickly came on board last year. Now we have 5, 6s, 2, 3s, and our K1s are slowly coming on board now. This is amazing. When we talk to kids about this, they tell us, oh, I feel like I can offer something. They're not feeling like they can't take a risk with their learning anymore, because they can share it. Everyone is also learning that same skill, and it's amazing. Okay. One of the things our school is doing is challenge-based learning. So challenge-based learning for me is a real passion. I came on board with it 6 years ago. Yes, 6 years ago, where we are learning how to engage our students. We're learning how to engage them in their own learning by offering voice and choice. We're engaging them in real world problems where it is authentic, where they can say, yes, I did something, and yes, this is important to me. And doing that, students have to leverage the technology to solve a real world problem by engaging, investigating, and acting. And I have 2 students here to talk to you about it.
Thank you for inviting us here today. My name is Callie.
I'm Lily, and we are here to talk about a little bit more of the challenge-based learning that we do at Drinkwater Elementary.
First important part of the challenge is to engage.
With challenge-based learning, we get to make the choices, ask the questions, and decide what problems we want to solve. This gives us ownership of our own learning.
We have done so many challenges, it is hard to pick just one example. But one challenge we did came about when we returned to school after COVID. After COVID, we were worried about sitting in our groups, but we wanted to work together. So the class asked to do our own challenge, which was how to work together and feel safe in collaborative groups. We were worried about our classmates getting sick from our germs that we might pass on. So we chose this as a challenge of a problem we wanted to solve.
A challenge I did was about climate change, which was the worry that me and my classmates had. We wanted to do research and find ways in which we could help or see how adults could help. Once the problem is identified and a challenge has been formed, the next important part of a challenge is to investigate.
When we started working on a challenge, we used tools to help us look at the problem and find some answers to our questions, such as we asked guiding questions so our teachers can plan lessons on things we might need to learn. For our COVID safety, we did research online to find ideas on how to help all of us. Learn how to make good questions to get the answers we needed along the way.
Then we asked to be taught skills that we might need to be successful, using iPads and apps such as green screens, PowerPoint, iMovie, stop motion, and using other apps such as Minecraft Educational to learn. We used Minecraft to learn about community. Each one of us did research on how to help solve an issue around climate change in our community, creating slideshows with our information.
We collaborate and learn to take roles in teams to get a deeper understanding of the issue that we are trying to solve. The last and most important part of a challenge is to now act.
After finding what we need to learn, we then determine how to answer the challenge and act upon it.
With our research on COVID safety, we created clear dividers to go on our desks so we could see and hear each other. To still be able to collaborate on our learning, we even named them sneeze guards.
With our research into climate change, we decided to share our voice and let our government candidates know what is important to us and our families. We also went out into the community to do our own cleanup to contribute.
Right now, we are working on a challenge with all of our grade 5, 6, 7 classes.
This is the Digital Citizenship Challenge. We have been challenged to co-create a digital citizenship code of conduct.
All challenges connect to the curriculum, and the big idea for our grade is to use technology safely.
But how do we do that?
That is what we are learning about now.
Engage is the first step in a challenge-based inquiry classroom, which means we need to have a personal connection or interest in the area. The question then is, why is this topic important to us?
It is important to me because we need to be safe online and know what to do when inappropriate things happen to us because of technology.
Cyberbullying is something that many of us have experienced and can cause a lot of harm. So we think this will help our school and maybe other schools in the district.
In the end, we want to not only have a digital citizenship code of conduct for our school to use, but to be able to share it with you.
If you invite us back.
Oh, I forgot to put that up, sorry.
And I think we'd just like to end with a reminder that once you're a dolphin, you're always a dolphin. These are two young men who have been Drinkwater Elementary students and came back to give back and support our learners. So that concludes our presentation. Thank you.
Or have any questions? Trustee Lise.
I don't have a question, but the young man that was just in the photo there.
Yes.
I was just in a store in town and I just witnessed him reach out to somebody and say, "Oh, hi," and he shook his hand so he was a kind human even out in the community. So you've done a good job.
Trustee Schmidt.
Young ladies, that was beautiful. Thank you very much for your words and your thoughts. And I really hope that your principal can let the superintendent know when you guys have got that all figured out so that you can come back and present to us your answers. You in mind. That'd be great. Well done.
Trustee Croft.
Very similar to what Trustee Schmidt. Thank you very much for your presentation today. I was really interested to hear the process and the journey through your learning. And I think sometimes we sort of think too much about the results. Old people like me were raised to think about the results. And so it's very, it's educational for me to hear about that first term journey. I think that's a really nice sharing, and I really appreciate it. And I too would be glad if you have a chance to return and tell us about some of those outcomes and where that led. I just wanted to compliment you on your work and on your school. I've had occasion to travel the hallways and come and hang out with you guys from time to time. It's a lovely school. People are caring and collaborative and engaged and candid all at the same time. And kudos to you for building that community. And thank you for doing that for our kids.
Thank you.
I have a question. Actually, for all four. What do you mean by taking a risk in learning, and how are the kids doing that? All four of you will answer.
Yeah, I answer how the children are taking a risk in their learning. I think that both Callie and Lily did a really great job talking about the risks when they're saying, hey, here is a question that we have. We would like to learn more about that, and their willingness to dive deeper with the support of their teachers, I think, is risk. There's a lot of risk. For us as learners, I think we take, well, I'm going to use this as an example. At our last PLC, we spoke about what our goals for each grade grouping was looking like around literacy, and everyone needed to take a great big deep breath when they presented their vulnerability by taking their goals that they had worked on throughout our PLC and putting them up for the community to see in the halls of our school. I think that's a big risk. It puts us in a vulnerable place to say, hey, this is what we're working towards, and we would like to show you not only our learning, but our accountability. I think that's also a risk.
Tell me, is that a lot of fun taking risks like that?
Of course it's fun. It's messy, it's sticky. You learn a whole lot about who you are as a person and a learner. Of course, risk taking is worth it. Is it worth it, girls?
It is worth it.
Great.
What makes it so you can take a risk?
I feel like when I'm in class, being in a safe environment helps me take risks because I don't feel like I'm going to be judged after.
And the teachers will help you with whatever you need in our classrooms.
And creating that atmosphere in our classrooms and our school is what allows them to say, hey, I might not know this yet, but I'm willing to try. And that's taking a risk, being willing to try.
That's great. Thank you for that. Any other questions? Oh, superintendent.
I don't really have a question, but I do want to apologize for the technology glitches because you're apologizing and it's not your fault. We need to make it better.
Yeah.
And Brenda, sorry, Ms. Stevenson, thank you for being able to work through all of that as that was trying to be worked through. So my apologies.
We look forward to hearing those voices.
Yes.
Yeah.
We will get that sent off.
They are very great voices from a wide variety of kids and parents and staff.
I would just like to ask the process for that. Do I send it to Claire and then Claire can distribute it? Yes. Perfect.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, and thank you very much for taking a risk.
Thank you.
Hey, that was great. Thank you, Brenda. Anna Morellis.
Wishing you luck on your technology.
I know, I too have a video, so.
I'm wondering if I should connect the speaker now.
Okay.
till the very end. So we'll get through everything.
You can always mime, cuz.
Powering on.
Here he comes.
I disconnected already. I'm connected. Do you think it makes a difference if like they're not muted?
As long as you're muted, it should.
But then the sound still picks up through theirs. Or no? No?
It shouldn't make the change.
Right.
Sean Palmer.
Oh, that's my video. How's that playing? Okay.
Question. Did you have any role models you looked up to?
When I grew up,
Could we just hear it from
The
the
laptop.
computer?
Yeah, we could try that.
Alice.
Growing up, did you have any role models you looked up to?
When I grew up, I had some role models that
Growing up, did you have any role models you looked up to?
when I grew up, I had some role models that were in various different sports. There wasn't a lot of mountain bikers back then, but I was really into watching Scott Schmidt ski, Glenn Plake ski, guy with the crazy mohawk, back in the day, early pioneer extreme skiers. Craig Kelly, the snowboarder, Sean Palmer, the snowboarder and later a mountain biker, as well as some various different athletes from different team sports and whatnot. But yeah, I'd have to say Craig Kelly was my hero, and I got to meet him years later, and he actually convinced me into racing pro snowboarding, and I did, and I actually beat him the first race that I hit on the pro circuit, which was like a dream come true, and then we became friends. So a lot of role models, and yeah, it's cool to have someone to aspire to and to learn from. And as I move through my career, I try and be an inspiration to the younger people too, and be a role model and show them what to do and what not to do. And yeah, it's been a crazy journey as a long time middle-aged acting hero, and starting as a young teenager and being 54 years old now. And I've had you know, my role models get old and gray, and now I'm old and gray, and now I've got, you know, young people who actually write me and ask me questions on things, and so trying to be inspiring and be inspired. It's pretty cool.
Trustee Schmidt.
Well, you know, Shashank, I was really impressed. I want to thank you and my others to deal with, to have nice to see you here, and I want to be more involved with you because of what we're just coming off of for me and the direction you're going. The timing couldn't be more perfect for what I'm going to be doing next, and I will be talking to you. And if you don't listen, I'm going to tell your dad.
Okay. Sounds good.
Trustee Schmidt.
Okay, I have a couple questions. Well, actually, I have a statement first. I love your energy.
Oh, thanks.
I love your excitement of what you do, and that's why I'm sure your student leadership club is so successful, is because of who you are. So I just wanted to say thank you. Now let's talk about money. So you got those grants for the conference, but for all of your different meetings and stuff, do we have a budget in place that gives you guys like snacks and things for all of your Indigenous leadership meetings?
I started the group a little self-funded, but I've just been getting grants for these groups. So last year I was able to get the New Relationship Trust grant. And then for this year, I've been working with the VHA grant.
So at any follow-up through the chair, thank you. So at any given time, I think that we as a board support all youth areas, but that are at the district level. So I'm wondering if there's ever a point in time where funding becomes a challenge. You know, we definitely look at DSAC and other groups, and I wonder if maybe if you ever get stuck, that maybe you go over to the superintendent. I keep looking at her. I keep eyeballing her. The superintendent just whispered in her ear that you need some cash, because I think that this is amazing what you're doing. The video is amazing. The conference, I'm so excited for you guys and bringing that together. And I know that's going to chew up your grant pretty good. But all of these different meetings that you're doing with the kiddos for all this amazing work. You know, we always learn that kids do best when they have something to munch on while they're meeting. And I just want to make sure that you have what you need to continue this successful journey that you're on. And thank you for all the hard work you're doing. And to your student, well done. Well done. Thank you for coming tonight.
Superintendent.
Yes, thank you very much. I just wanted to respond. Miss Hannah is, as a district coordinator, she's well versed in the work that she's doing, and I do want to make a couple comments around the work. Hannah's been around for about 4 years now. She started her work to hear the voices of our Indigenous learners across the district, and really has been guiding us as a district in terms of bringing that voice to light. And I'm sure that she probably does have some kind of a budget within her realm, but at the same time, I think those questions can certainly go through Jeff and so on and so forth around honoring the work. And I know Oakley, you weren't really introduced, but I really want to say Oakley, he introduced himself earlier to me, and I don't think I'll ever forget his name. So anyway, really thankful for that, and just the work that Hannah's been doing overall. You can see that why the kids would be engaged with her, because she's the spirit that you want to be around. So thank you.
Trustee Vise.
You said that you were inspired by the fellow on the screen for his mountain biking, and actually you are inspiring. So you've already got that. The one question that I also had was that you talked about the voice of the children, and I'm just wondering if there's anything that's coming up that you would like us to know, that from your gatherings that. Okay.
I guess just that students do have a voice and they're so keen to share it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like sometimes just given certain situations or environments, maybe they don't feel comfortable sharing, because I know like sometimes I'm in the schools even and teachers are like, well, what do you need? And students just struggle to share in those kind of settings what they need. The students do know what they need. Mm-hmm. So I think just creating safe spaces for students to share is what's so important. Yeah, just listening to them.
Any other questions? Trustee Croft.
More comment. I think you really filled in all the blanks for us. It's very comprehensive. Thank you. And if I just compliment you on your enthusiasm and dedication, it's just really nice to have someone like you on everybody's side and doing good deeds. So just thank you. And I'm very excited to hear about the February event. So I also happen to know of a youth art show that is coming up in March. And I will issue an invitation to you through our superintendent to see if you folks would like to, if any of the folks you work with would be interested in submitting a piece for that.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much
for that one. Yeah.
Trustee Thorne.
I'm hoping this board starts to hear more about what we're doing, because we really, really need to. And I'm going to make a point to make some changes in what you're doing so we can promote it more. It's needed. It's time. So I'm really impressed. So I'm going to be coming to see you and talk about some ideas.
Well, thanks. I know. Sometimes I feel like it's my own little bubble and I'd love to just keep it kind of secret, but it is important to share it with everyone. I've got to share all my students and their great work. But yeah, so thank you so much. And if any of you want to pop by one of our leadership meetings.
I have a question.
Okay.
By having these Indigenous student leadership groups, how is that helping their learning? Like, what are you seeing?
Well, I feel like it's helping both their learning, but just like their self-esteem. So one of our Stoutons in our school district just shared with me a story that really warmed my heart. So at the start of all of our meetings, I have the students go around and introduce themselves and what grade they're in and kind of like how they're feeling that day. When we first started this group a couple of years ago, there were multiple students who did not feel comfortable introducing themselves, which was totally fine. But now we can whip around the room so quickly and we all share our names. And one of our Stoutons, so she just took one of our students who was very shy at the beginning of our group to go and get her some of her ID or something. So they were in line and the student kept asking her what am I supposed to say again? What am I asking for? And then the student asked her, can you just ask for me? And the Stouton said, no, you can do this. And then the student, she said this, the student replied, well, I do speak in our leadership meetings every month, so I can do this. So I just think that just those little instances, it's just introducing yourself, but they really help to build a student's self-esteem, their confidence, and how they can go forward and interact in the world. So yeah.
You're seeing a big difference in their learning, and they are too.
Yes.
And how does it affect all the rest of our Indigenous students that are not part of the leadership group?
I think that all of the students who are part of my leadership group are such great role models when they go back to their schools. I see them encouraging their friends to go to class, and I see the positive impact that they're having on their friends and the school as a whole, I would say. And I feel like it's making an impact because more students are then wanting to come and join leadership. I think that they see the positive environment that it is for them to come and participate in. And so, yeah, I think it's just creating space for students to be themselves in school where sometimes they don't feel like that.
That's great. Another question, university tours, what age group or what grade do you do those in?
So for the ones that we've been doing so far, the one at Camosun, Camosun targeted that for grades 11 and grade 12. But I have been talking to other grade levels as well that they would encourage us even starting to go to universities lower, like grades 9 or 10. And I think that's really important too, just to start putting that idea in students' minds before they even get to grade 10 where their marks really matter. And so they can start making those goals earlier. And that could impact what they decide to do later on.
Or even younger than that, so they have something to build upon, like if they're in grade 6, 7, 8, and so they can actually, when you talk about somebody trying to get ID, and too shy to do it, are they too shy to think about going to university?
Very true. I did hear that I think Coheman took their grade 7s to UVic, and that was very positive. So yeah, definitely something to consider and think about for sure. Thank you.
Trustee Thorne.
Just to add to that, a lot of those students are doing things that are phenomenal. A lot of them increased the numbers in Cinqua. A lot of them are going to people's houses to sing in traditional words, happy birthday, both done Cowitson and Powwow way. So I've seen a lot of changes where they're getting to be more active in the community. And that's a big step. That's the most I've seen the progress. And I'm like, whoa, this is cool. And my kids are part of that, so I really like it. And I think I want to come and talk to you about you having a meeting with my employers, because they're always helping children in schools. So I think we can come together, especially for trades training and changing the different age levels.
Awesome. Exciting times. That's for sure.
Thank you very much for coming, and this was very enjoyable.
Thank you.
Now for the really exciting parts of administrative procedures, superintendent.
Thank you.
Exciting too.
Well, it is very exciting. On page 8, you're going to find 2 APs that one is new, actually developed from a policy that the board made, and it happens to be really the whistleblower legislation. So you're going to find AP 177, safe disclosure of complaints related to staff, including management. And so you're going to see it is probably a bit of a dense AP. It's an AP that requires a lot of steps with regard to definitions, how you go about it, how you make your statement, and how we respond, the superintendent and or the designate. And so I think that this legislation that came into effect comes into effect on December the 1st. Then as a district, we are organized for this, and it certainly is a process that allows staff, including management, to share anything that could be untoward or unsafe, and here is a procedure for it. So that's the first one. The second one is AP 172, workplace bullying and harassment. We already had an AP for this, but this one has been revised because it became very clear to us that we need to incorporate another step between going from a complaint, but rather what kind of a conflict resolution process could we put in place if indeed it was a complaint that maybe wasn't bullying harassment, but needed actually another process to actually manage the conflict that might have existed between two parties and so on. And so both of them now have come to the board, and they will actually now go out into the field so that the field is cognizant and aware of these two new APs.
Do you have any questions, Trustee Crowe?
I have a comment and a question, if I may. First comment, I wanted to thank Superintendent Gray and the team for putting together this robust document, because it ensures that we walk the talk. And I'd also like to commend you on creating a culture throughout the district wherein these kinds of things really are important and are top of mind. It's hard to create a positive corporate culture. It's really easy to create a negative one. So I just want to honor that contribution. This is a very big document, and I know that the legislation is at the ministerial level is newish. Did we build upon any other materials, or did you have to start with a blank page on this one?
Through the chair, I think that all the districts are presently doing this right now, a lot of organizations, and so it was a matter of looking at other APs as well. So what we do is we tend to do that work. Yeah. We never start with a blank slate. We often look to see what are other districts doing and how do we actually incorporate their ideas, but we actually also contextualize it and make sure that it fits our culture.
Thank you very much.
Any questions? Thank you very much, Superintendent. Next. Business and Operations, Secretary Treasurer.
Thank you. Just bringing you a revised update on an estimate on the operating grant for this year based on the September enrollment counts. So when we came earlier with an estimate, it was unreconciled, I'll say. The enrollment goes through a number of echo checks to ensure that students aren't double claimed and that all students that should be claimed are. And so we have seen a bit of an increase in English language learning and level 2 special needs students. So I just updated the amount of the grant estimate to bring that information before the committee. So if all goes as expected, when we get the grant announcement in December, it should be 1.78 million higher than what we had in the spring due to those enrollment increase. We are intending to bring some information to the board at the board meeting next week, a little bit more around projections and where we think we're at for the year in the budget. But just on the revenue side, wanted the board to be aware.
Thank you. Do we have any questions?
Moving on to the next item. We've done a lot of work with the ministry around the board's funding contribution, and now it actually should say QSS prior to the respelling of cuts in secondary. So the board is responsible for contributing $2.2 million to that project. And when the original funding agreement was signed, That contribution was to take 800,000 from ministry restricted and 1.4 million from the board's local dollars to come up with that 2.2 million. Working with the that distribution or that split of funds was prior to the sale of two pieces of property that are helping to fund the board's contribution. So Yount and Crofton. So before we went to the ministry and asked for a change on that distribution, the board had $28,000 left in the local capital that hadn't been committed. So really an exhausted bank on the capital reserve that the board has discretion over how they spend it. Ministry restricted is also capital dollars that sit at the board, but you have to have the ministry approve your expenditure of them. So we were able to rebalance that somewhat with the ministry. I think this is really good news for the board now that 1.6 million will come from the ministry's money, up from 800,000, which basically returns to the board $800,000 to your local capital balance. So now we have an estimated local capital balance of 828,000 instead of $28,000 as of, kind of reconciling at the end of the year. So just bringing that here, as we think that's some good news on the project, and now it gives the board some more local capital to have authority over that wasn't there previously.
Any questions? None. Next, highlights of the November 21st advisory committee.
Thank you very much. These verbal reports go back, my goodness, 4 or 5 years ago now, when we were in the advisory committee was new, and people were saying wondering what happened to all of our comments and conversation, because there are highlights from the meeting, they're not official minutes. So we struck on this as a way to just share some of the highlights. So what were the highlights? Well, some of the themes were there are going to be lots of turkeys given out at Christmas at various luncheons and so forth throughout all the schools. Most of the schools have a big Christmas holiday luncheon. We heard some good news in that there are now, due to a decision of the board in last year's budget, everybody's really appreciating, have some more people on hand to distribute the food programs. That's really helped out a lot. We hit the mark on that one. We also heard from some folks, people commemorated, everybody was involved in Remembrance Day. All of our partners either placed a wreath or attended or somehow did something special for that day. And including our some of the students received a presentation about meeting First Nations veterans, which was new information to them, and I found that very intriguing, and they were very, very glad to know it. So yeah, things seem to be kind of smooth sailing, the usual exciting things going on, and quite positive feedback. We will also expect to hear more from our partners regarding the future of Cowichan Secondary School and some of the closing events that we will be undertaking. So there'll be a voice there for that as well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We have no other business on the agenda. Motion to adjourn. Trustee Schmidt, Trustee Lise, all in favor? Thank you very much. We will see you next week.